Hello and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. And indeed, I have brought some friends, ladies and gentlemen. And speaking of friends, Hargeet Chani, friend to the community, friend to many of the podcasting community as well. Folks, like I said, if you missed my impromptu stream this afternoon at noon, basically talking about the current status, current future, if you will, of Xbox and how they seem to be leading the charge. Well, that was led by the Doom controllers as well as the wrap. Obviously, I got super nerdy, I got super excited, and I was like, you know what, I got time. And well, we did. Hargeet and I, sat down for about 50 minutes talking about, some of the ongoings with the industry, more specifically why Xbox is taking charge, and of course, well, celebrating the release of the Doom Elite controller, the Doom Special Edition controller, and of course the Doom Dark Ages wrap, which looks dope. I bought everything. I'm not. Listen, I don't have money growing off of trees, but I like controllers and I like wraps. But Hargi Chani, you are the focus to open up today's show. Now, why I say that isn't because he's in any kind of trouble, folks. His YouTube channel is 70 subscribers away from hitting 1K and officially becoming partnered with YouTube. And again, if you are a content creator or you've ever made a video or you just like watching other content creators' videos, you understand how difficult it is to not only have a YouTube channel, but make one that is successful. And Hargeet Chani's done a pretty good job in not only doing that, but he's also a big part of the community in a way that a lot of us we enjoy, because he's on podcasts left, right, and center. He works with, Fonzarelli. He works with Web Dave. He's here today as he is every Wednesday. He also is on with Doodle and C Money on Friday evening. So he puts the work in. So I'm asking you as a friend, as someone that has done this before for many content creators, is to help them cross that threshold of 1K. Now, I've already dropped the link in, and I will drop it now that I'm out here doing my spiel. But look, okay, that's actually not it. That's the Phil Spencer thing. Hold on a second. I got to get it. So I will drop that in a second. Hargi Chani, how are you doing, kind sir? And again, you are the focus. We are trying to get you to 1K live on the air. And like I said, Double Barrel Gaming is super proud because we've done that with at least a dozen other creators.
Nice.
And it's a big deal. Honestly, to get to 1K is a really big deal. And you do a lot of work with the community. I'd like to see you get there. But how you feeling, man? Lots of Xbox news to get excited about, man.
Yeah. It's been an interesting several weeks, right? We've had some PlayStation news, we've had some Switch news, right? Nintendo's been doing their thing, and Xbox has been doing their thing. It's been good. We've been getting a lot of things to go over. So yeah, let's get into it.
Well, listen, let's just open up with the opening salvo. And again, if you're wondering, hey, where's that Keasante cat? Well, he's actually doing some family stuff, and he should be here momentarily. But you know what? I want to open up with some really interesting things. Now, just the other day, as you fine folks know, Oblivion Remastered, as it's being called, but it's a remake, was basically confirmed by the developer that's making it, Visceral, I believe it is. And the screenshots are out, folks. Tom Warren reported on it. We also had Jez Corden report on it. Sam Tolbert of Windows Central wrote an article. All of your favorite content creators like Okami13 and Shinobi 602 and Hazador Gaming and Ecstasies, they all put it out there along with myself that, hey, this is what it looks like. And well, folks, this really shouldn't come off as a surprise because we were told that this was happening during the FTC court trials, right? Now, some of the documents that were made public that probably shouldn't have been made public was one containing that Bethesda was not only remaking Oblivion, but they were also remaking one of the fan favorites of the Fallouts. And no, it's not New Vegas because that's Obsidian, but Fallout 3. Now, what's interesting with this is we've had several people in the community and some notable people in the community, like Ecstasies, for instance. Now, Ecstasies, I've talked about him. You must be sick and tired of me talking about the guy, but the guy's connected. And he's consistently out there putting incredible pieces of information out that he gets. Now, I don't know who he talks to or where he gets his information, but a good portion of the time he's right. Well, he posted the other day, Hargeet, and I'm going to read verbatim from his Twitter post. Breaking. Fallout 3 will be Bethesda's next remake after Oblivion, which will be released very soon. He goes on to say, today I'm sharing all the details and possible release window for the return to the Capital Wasteland, which is going to look good in Unreal Engine 5. And of course, he does have the link to his video. I will add the link to that video in the show notes once this goes up on video on demand. But, Hargeet, we talked about it today, the roadmap for Xbox, right? The roadmap for 2025 has already been paved in great games, right? Listen, now I understand that your mileage, and I'm not saying you specifically, I'm talking to the, being general conversation to the community, your mileage is going to vary on Avowed. Your mileage is going to vary on South of Midnight. And of course, Doom is a fan favorite. It's been around for decades upon decades. So that's probably going to hit like a ton of bricks. But we have to admit that Xbox first party is hitting on all cylinders. And when you consider Oblivion, which to me, and this is just me speaking, folks, one of the best OG RPGs, one of my personal favorites of all time, got a fresh new coat of paint in Unreal Engine 5. You saw the screens, you saw the one-to-ones, and it looks incredible. That is dropping supposedly next week. It's a shadow drop. Jeff Grubb talked about it on his show. He said the week of the 21st. We have a second topic we're going to get into for the second half of the show, and that is what is supposed to be happening on the 23rd, which is the Xbox partnered preview event, ladies and gentlemen. And I think that is happening. I have some more evidence that I found today that basically confirms that it's happening, but that could be dropped then and there. So, Hargeet, at this point, when you consider Doom and South of Midnight and Avowed, and now the Oblivion remake, or remastered as they're calling it, on top of Towerborn, obscure Expedition 33s in a couple of weeks, the amount of games that Xbox seems to be getting, I said it before jokingly, and I really do now. I have to think about it and mean it. It's almost an unfair playing field for everybody else. Like, it honestly is just so bombastic that it seems unfair. And that's why I always laugh when you hear about these certain content creators that, consistently, Xbox is dead, Xbox is dying, they're going third party. Why make a console? Game Pass sucks. But we're eating good in this neighborhood. I want to get your thoughts on it because Fallout 3, I can't speak for anyone else, but I can speak for myself. I have almost every achievement in the original game. I have well over 400 hours in that game. Loved every second of it. Not my favorite Fallout because sorry, Todd, don't get mad at me and get me with the band stick. I love Bethesda. My favorite Fallout happens to be from Obsidian. Sorry, sorry, folks. But I did love Fallout 3, and the fact that we're getting a potential, again, it's pretty much confirmed, but a potential remake on and in the same vein of what they did with Oblivion is madness. Now, again, I do have a quote here, and I want to bring it up because it is important context. Now, we did get some information from Nate the Hate. This was posted by Pratt Nation. And it says Fallout 3 Remaster is coming after Oblivion's Remastered. And this is what Nate the Hate had to say. Nate the Hate, listen, folks, whether you love the guy or you actually hate him like his name, he's right. He's also very connected. And someone actually had reached out to him. I have the tweet in front of me. and it says Nate the Hate at Nate the Hate, Fallout 3 Remastered still happening, basically asking, and Nate the Hate responds, planned but won't be for a while, which says to me, Hargeet, that this is going to be releasing second half of the year, and I think that is very interesting because we've had quite a first half of 2025, and we haven't even gotten to June. We're still in April, so there's May,
Yeah.
June, and now obviously May is going to be the big one, which is Doom Eternal. There could be something in June, a shadow drop of sorts, right? Towerborn is at the end of the month. Now, whether you think that's a bigger game or not is up to you. I'm looking forward to it. Let's talk about the potential of not only them, Xbox, having this ridiculous first half of the year, but their second half of the year could start with Fallout 3 Remastered. And if we know anything, it looks anything like Oblivion, we're in for something.
Yeah, I mean, so I actually would recommend they not release it this year. There's way too much stuff they already have coming out this year. Yeah, I mean, look, Game Pass is fantastic. Getting remasters of older games, cool, right? At least these are games that are about 2 decades old, right? So that's a good thing. And then along with that, we're still getting new games. And as you mentioned, we have third-party games like Blueprints just came out day and date. I think it also came out day and date in PS Plus, I want to say, but it also came out in Game Pass, day and date, and that's a very highly rated game, right? South of Midnight, 33 Immortals, Atomfall, Avowed, obviously, Sniper Elite, Eternal Strands, Ninja Gaiden Black, right? To name a few of the things that are day and date so far this year.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's an interesting, like as far as the amount of games, we still haven't heard when Wu Chang is going to come out, right? That was something that was announced that's supposedly coming this year. We have a lot more that's coming in. We have Towerborn to come, much more coming into the service. And then of course their first party. They just keep putting out more games. Along with we now have Nintendo releasing their games. PlayStation has a couple of things at least. And then all the other third parties, along with like Take-Two, like this year, Borderlands, Mafia, potentially GTA. And maybe one of the the BioShock or the Judas one, whichever one potentially is coming. Maybe they should just hold off. They have too many games coming out as it is. So
what a problem.
Right? It is what it is. But like, yeah, they there's so much coming out. It's hard to keep up. But yeah, it's a good place to be, right? As far as like if you like variety of stuff, there's plenty of things out there. If you want to try to play everything, it gets harder and harder to do that. But there you go. Yeah, and value, it's hard to beat right now, right? So but yeah, I don't know. Fallout 3 is one that I kind of missed. I bought it. I lent it to a friend and never actually got to play it. I got it back and then I just never got into it. I played maybe like the first hour and I just never went back to it. So it would in fact be kind of cool to play that game in a remastered format. We'll see what that looks like. So one of the things that's interesting here is the world has moved on. This is a 2-decade-old game, and we might be used to some newer game mechanics and newer storytelling methods, and it might feel dated, right? Maybe it all works, but it might feel dated, and I hope it doesn't like get panned because of that kind of thing. But we'll see, right? So hopefully they modernize some things here and there. If they don't, hopefully it still works. But that's the thing. That's just one of the things that's a caveat when you take older games and remaster instead of remake, is that you might end up with sort of the same assets, same game feel, and you might not quite enjoy it as much because there's just been more progress in the gaming genre, right? So, you want those newer features, new capabilities, new ways of playing, and they're not there. So I hope that doesn't detract from it. I hear Fallout 3 is probably one of the better Fallouts. I'd love to play that one. Oblivion was my favorite, but I also gave up on Morrowind because it didn't have like sort of modern mechanics of like a journal. So you had to write things down yourself. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Get out of here. So I stopped playing it. And so if they do that one and make it have like, some modern mechanics, that would be awesome. I would love to go back to older ones, but Todd said no, he's not doing that, right? He didn't want to redo the older Elder Scrolls games, the original ones, and the older Fallout games. I think that's a mistake. I think they should do that. They're in a very different style. It would be cool to get those games as well in a more modern format. Moving from what they had with Fallout 2 to Fallout 3, where it became this first-person shooter, right? The very different, game, mechanic, along with being an RPG, right? So, I think that might be a good way to go. Elder Scrolls, I think it had a similar thing. Was it like a board game type thing? I don't even remember what the first two were like, but it was different from
isometric.
What they did with,
I think the Fallout
yes, it
1
was
and 2,
different than
yeah,
it was different than what they had with this, right? So when they went to Morrowind, it was a different format, right? So, yeah, I would love to have those older ones kind of like redone, but Todd Howard said nope. Maybe somebody at Xbox
In Exile,
Todd.
Cord Wayner in the chat says maybe In Exile takes a stab at that because they actually were.
They made it.
They did
it's
it.
theirs,
So,
right? It's Obsidian and In Exile were Interplay, and that was the development studios that made both Fallout and Fallout. I think Elder Scrolls was always Bethesda, right? But but Fallout was them, and then they made what was that the new one they have, the Wasteland, right? Wasteland. I think that was like sort of the spiritual successor of Fallout. So, well, we'll see what they do. I mean, we still have to get their game, Clockwork Revolution, right? See if that's what if that does well. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know how South of Midnight's doing. That would be also interesting to know for Compulsion's side of it. But Obsidian is busy, right? There's so much stuff coming out. So maybe they free up and maybe they can do some stuff too. I'm sure they've got plans laid out for the team that was doing Avowed to see what they can do there. But yeah, look, as far as having both Oblivion, which is pretty much at this point kind of a given, right? We've seen leaked pictures of the game, so it's probably happening, right?
Oh, it's
there's
real.
No confirmation, right?
Yeah.
There's no confirmation yet, right? But
Virtuous
it is like
is the studio that did it, right? So Virtuous is the
Yeah.
one that remade it on their website, on the official Virtuous website. There were pictures that anyone could go in and use, and then when they realized they made a boo-boo, whether this was accidentally on purpose or not,
so
took
it's
it down.
pretty much
It's
confirmed,
pretty much
but
confirmed.
but it is not theoretically, technically it's not official yet, but we will likely get that pretty soon. At least that's what we're hearing, right? The rumor is it's coming within the next week or two.
Yes.
So that'll be pretty soon. As far as the other one, at this point, I recommend that Xbox just hold off. Even if they have it ready, just hold off. There's way too much coming out this year. You need to like spread things out, and Fallout 3 could be this time next year, right? And even if it's ready to go.
It's funny. It's funny you say that because we're like, okay, Xbox has no games. That was the running narrative for many, many years, and we've said it for the last couple of years. We've always talked about Xbox has too many games. And I'm gonna be honest with you, Hargeet. It's not saying that it's easy or it's hard. Pause. Okay, hold on just a second. But it's not easy to hold a game, and I think that it's almost impossible to hold this game because 2026 is shaping up to be ridiculous. Like, okay, so Fable gets pushed into 26. We're like, okay, fine. We don't necessarily need it. Let them cook, right? Clockwork Revolution could still release this year, but it's probably coming next year. State of Decay 3, they wanted it this year. They said, let them cook next year. Halo Master, not Master Chief Collection, Halo Combat Evolved remake in Unreal Engine 5 is rumored to be next year. Gears of War E-Day 2026. I mean, Forza Horizon 6 potentially 2026. It is ridiculous.
Yeah,
at
look,
this
this
point.
is their problem to deal with now. This is literally like what Matt Booty was talking about, having an Excel of all the games that they have and how to fit things in, right? We haven't talked about other games that we don't even know about, right? There are
Yeah.
definitely partner games that we don't even know about.
Right.
There's stuff coming, right? So, look, that is their headache. And if the next gen Xbox isn't coming until 27, they should probably hold off. Now, you say it's difficult to do. Fair enough, but they did it with Hi-Fi. They held that on for a year or two, right? They kept that in their back pocket, and then Shadow dropped it, which was an awesome Shadow drop. But look, this is just the world we're going to be in when it comes to Xbox now. They have so much. They have to fit whatever they can where they can, and not also stomp on their partners, right? So if there's another game coming in, like say AC Shadows coming in, you don't want to put something right next to it that'll stomp on that, right? So they're going to do that, shuffling. That's just the way it is now. This is the world that Xbox is in. They have so much, they have to kind of just deal with it, right? So fair enough. But if it were me, I would not launch Gears or Halo or Forza until your next console, because what you don't want is your next console comes out and you don't have one of those mainline games, right? You want to have all three of those being at the same time would be unbelievable. I wouldn't say do it at the same time, but say Forza and Halo, and then that next March, right, release Gears, right? So you just have that launch window of insanity, right? And you have Call of Duty, obviously that's going to be there, right? Call of Duty is going to be there, right? Yes. So you have all those big games. Elder Scrolls 6, that would be awesod, right? You say like
it's
within
unfair.
that launch window of 6 months, you have Elder Scrolls 6 as well, right? You have OD, and you have Blade, and like on and on and on, right? So many games that have the potential to come out on next gen. It'll be cross-gen, of course, right? We know that, but it'll be like the next-gen consoles games. So yeah, there's so much potential here, right? But as far as these two, this what we're really talking about is just Fallout and Fallout 3 and Oblivion. Oblivion, by the way, is fantastic for those who haven't had a chance to play it. Definitely give it a chance.
One of the best RPGs of all time.
If you like Skyrim, I found Oblivion was better than Skyrim. Some people I'm sure feel maybe differently, but like I found Oblivion was a better overall game. Story was better for me as well. But either way, it's in the same vein, same studio, obviously. So give it a chance if you haven't had a chance to play that one. It's really good, and hopefully it holds up. I really hope it holds up. And then Fallout 3, again, I'm looking forward to it because I have not had a chance to play it. I would like to play it. I played 4. I loved it. It was great. I have not played New Vegas either. I hope they kind of touch that one up too. So I've been kind of holding off on that one. I want to kind of touch that one up too. But yeah, it's good times, right? Now people will complain that we're being stupid about getting remasters and complaining about Sony putting out remasters, but
there's a massive difference here. So hold on just a second. Like I don't know if anybody in the chat actually said that, but let's come on, folks.
I doubt it. I'm just gonna say, we're gonna get clipped. See these Xbox. See that they're not like remasters. See, they just complain when it's PlayStation. Look, I don't mind if PlayStation puts out remasters, but like the one that I'd want is like the original God of War trilogy, because I have not had a chance to play that. I'd love to have that on PC, because then I can remap controls and do what I want to do. So I would love to have that on PC. If they're going to do that, that'd be fantastic. Take your games from PS2, PS1, like bring those games forward, not PS5 games and bring them forward, PS4 games and bring them. Like, why do I need a remaster of games that came out in the same year the freaking PS5 came out? Like, dude, stop. This is what they're doing. They keep remastering the same freaking games. Like, okay, stop. Like, give me new games, right? Equivalent to that, at least Xbox is giving us new games. I don't mind the remasters as long as you give us new games. Where are their new games? They don't have it. Marathons are new games.
And that's ultimately that is definitely a cart before the horse kind of situation. We're going to be revisiting that, because again, if anyone does clip or anyone does have a thought and theory, we're not talking. The two games that they are remaking, you're talking, are 10 and 15, 20 years old. You know what I'm saying?
Basically 2 decades old. Oblivion came out in 2006. So, basically 19 years. Fallout 3, when was that? Like 2008, 9, something like that?
Something like that.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
So, these are old games. These are old games, right? So bringing them forward, fair enough. And by the way, this wasn't even Xbox's decision, right? This was stuff they were doing before they were bought.
Yeah, correct.
So this is all from Bethesda. They decided to make
Bethesda
these
thing. Yeah.
So, and I have no problems with it. These are fantastic games to bring forward. Fair enough. But
well, listen. At the end of the day, I don't think I think we can complain and say, Xbox, please give us a break because you have too many games. Only two hands. Asante, what's going on, my brother? Welcome back. I see you got the haircut. You're looking sharp and ready to rock and roll. How you feeling, brother?
Evening. Not bad, man. Not bad. I appreciate it. Sorry I'm late. Life happens and all that. But I thought I'd jump in and hang out with you guys for a little bit. Yeah, well, man, listen, it's a good day.
Well, we're happy to have you here. We were talking about the Oblivion remake, basically confirmed. Virtuous, put it out on their website, and they did it. So it is what it is. Worst kept secret, no doubt. But that's not the story. The story is that we have Nate the Hate getting out here saying that Fallout 3 Remastered is happening. It's just not happening now. And I think what he meant was second half of 2025. We also have a report from Ecstasies, who we all know and love, and he talked about it just yesterday regarding. And you know what? Let me just read verbatim exactly what he had to say, because I have it here. And he goes on to say Fallout 3 will be Bethesda's next remake after Oblivion, which will be releasing very soon. So there's some conflicting reports. Nate the Hate says not soon, or and of course Ecstasy says it's happening soon. I think that it is probably going to drop second half. It makes sense, right? We're in the first half. Supposedly Jeff Grubb, who talked about this on his show, said that the Oblivion remake, or remastered as it's being called, is next week. Second half of the show, which we're going to get into as soon as we get your thoughts on both these remasters and why they deserve to be around, and why, again, Xbox Game Pass day and date, it's great, is the rumored Xbox partner preview event happening supposedly next week. I actually have the date from, again, leakers, but we'll get into that. What are your thoughts on Fallout 3 getting a remastered, potentially looking as good from the screeners that we saw from Oblivion? Both Unreal Engine 5. I say yes.
I agree with you, right? I think that I personally have never had a problem with remasters or remakes. It's just what you're remastering or remaking, right? To Hargeet's point. So, like, if it's old enough and could stand with a new coat of paint, could stand with bringing more folks in on it, I think that's a good look. Fallout 3 specifically, I played a bit of Fallout 3. I haven't actually beaten Fallout 3. It's been a million years since I played that game. The issue I had initially with it is the color palette was very much Gears of War like, which is they picked one color and just stuck with it. Gears of War was very brown. This was very gray and green. Like the whole thing was just that. At the time. But anyone that knows Fallout will tell you Fallout 3 was probably better than 4. Like, a lot of people say that 3 was considerably better than 4. Right?
Way better, in my opinion.
Yeah. So while people say the engine moved forward and then there were interesting features added to 4, story wise and everything else, like, people still consider 3 the better of the 2. So I can see it. I can see why they do that, right? And to the idea of remaster versus remake, those waters are very muddy these days, right? So we don't even know what that really means, right? Hargeet was saying he wishes there was a remaster. A remake rather than a remaster. I wish we could all agree to what a remaster is, because technically there is a meaning of remaster versus remake, and people have just and it's not even the fault of people, even developers do it too. So that's why it's not fair. So I understand that, but because of that, it is considered a remaster, but that doesn't necessarily mean they couldn't go in and modernize tool sets, modernize control schemes. That is usually remake territory. But we've seen other remasters do exactly the same. So, like, we don't know what the logistics will be, right? Like, I agree. Like, to me, this is my little tech pet peeve. Let's be clear on what a remaster is versus remake, right? We're teaching the consumers what these technical terms that become marketing terms. Let's make sure they continue to be consistent, because now everybody says remaster, remake. It's just lost in the sauce. That's neither here nor there. Anyway, the thing about the other remakes that we were talking about. Oh, why didn't they do Fallout 1 and 2? I agree. They desperately need them. But I have a feeling, and I have no prior knowledge, but just based on some of the interviews I've heard and all of this, I feel like Todd feels like these are his baby. And while he's around, ain't nobody touching his baby. Right? Which is, let's be clear, kind of a selfish gamer move, right? Because we love Todd and his leather jacket, but he's not going to be around forever. And I don't think he's remastering and remaking all of these games. But as long as he's around, ain't nobody touching it.
Yeah, that's true.
So, at some point, I suspect that maybe someone somewhere will dig into the IP crates and go, let's do something with this. But I don't think Mr. Howard will be around. Maybe he'll be retired or moved on or something. And then they'll
like
tap
looking
that
at like
well,
20 years or something, right? I don't know how much longer he wants to keep working, right? But
sir, I don't know about 20 years. I have no prior knowledge or anything like that.
He's in his 50s,
I would think,
right?
Yeah,
he's in
I
his
would
50s.
think
He's
after he delivers the next big Bethesda opus, that may be the swan song. I don't know.
I don't know. I think he's gonna try to do a Starfield 2 and then leave.
Maybe
I think he's gonna
Starfield 2. Yeah. I'd be surprised if he did that. I would.
Yeah, I think
Elder Scrolls, like another Elder Scrolls, something else.
Yes.
Well, Elder Scrolls is already in the works. We already know that, right?
Exactly.
If he stay around for Fallout 5 would be the big question, right?
I think he will. I think he's absolutely going to be for Fallout 5, and then it just comes down to will he stick around for Starfield? I think he will. I think he'll stay. Yeah, I think he will.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, I think ultimately it'd be up to somebody at like Matt Booty's level or whoever, at some level to say, Todd, I understand, but why don't we try? Like, what if I get a studio to try something? Would you be okay if you just see it and it look like something that's good? Like, I don't know that they should just take his.
See, that's the thing.
Only
I actually think,
believe it or not, he didn't even make.
Believe it or not, I actually think that may not be a 5-6 year from now conversation, right? Because I don't know about y'all, but I feel the changing of the guard is sooner rather than later. Everywhere.
It does kind of feel like that, doesn't it?
It feels that way to me. And take it as you will. It feels to me like the changing the guard is everywhere. And when that happens, all bets are off. Like bets. You can coddle all you want, but the man who coddled you in the room ain't there no more. So what you gonna say when they say this IP belongs to me? So that's neither here nor there. I honestly think that he'll probably like put his next big mark on one other monster IP, kind of like he did in the Indiana Jones example, right? Like, because they did do the Starfield GIF and then they did the Elder Scrolls GIF, I think they'll land the Elder Scrolls plane. After that, I'm not sure.
I think he's going to stick around for a few more. And I think, to your point on the Indiana Jones, I think they're going to do a couple more of those.
Well, we talked about that a couple months ago. Supposedly they signed a 3-game deal with Disney.
Yeah. I'm not saying they're not going to do more. I just don't know if the same exact brain trust will all be there. The ship will continue to sail. Like, I'm sure of it.
Yeah,
but will the captains all be there? I don't know.
I think there's respect for Todd, and that's why they're going to like not try to push.
Sure.
I agree. Ultimately, it's up to Xbox to decide. They can just say we're going to do it, right?
Yeah. But ultimately,
if Todd says no, I think they're going to listen to him. But there should be some like, hey,
in the short term,
Todd,
I agree.
Is it possible we could try something?
So
especially when it comes to like
one final thing.
Like, why not just let like you were saying, Boom, in Exile, they made it, right? Like, why not just let them take that and say, could you
just
give it
because they made it
a new polish?
Just because they made it, and just because they now sit across each other at the cafeteria doesn't mean that you motherfuckers stole my stuff way back when. It's still there. I'm just saying. Just because we're all now friendly doesn't mean I look at you and go, yeah, my Outer World is better than your Fallout. Like, that stuff is still in the
I mean, like as you pointed out, Obsidian was the other half of that equation, right? And they were happy to go do Fallout New Vegas.
Absolutely.
I just and again, that doesn't even in XL has to go do it. They could just produce it, right? In other words, have a sub studio go make it with them, right?
Yeah.
I just think that's a wasted opportunity from my perspective because I've never played those games. I don't think I would go back to that model. I would rather they be remade, same kind of story, but totally remade, new assets, new everything, from the ground up. In a more modern format. So I think that's just a wasted opportunity if Xbox doesn't do that. But it might be that we have to wait for Todd to go.
The last piece that I want to put, because you spoke about clipping things. Clip this to address those who say, "Oh, Xbox people." First off, we game everywhere. Secondly, remaster. We don't want it. We want it now. This and that. PlayStation, please give me a siphon filter collection. I will happily buy that. Right? I will happily throw my dollary dues and my ducats at you. I'll be like, here, right? Give me that. Right? Those are the ones that I will champion.
Yeah, there's quite a few things that they could remake that I would gladly stand in line to get. Resistance Fall of Man is Tip of Spear for me. The studio is gone, but I would love to see MotorStorm, even if it's just a remake of the original or a remaster, however you want to do it. Slap a new coat of paint on it and sell it to me. I love those games, so. It's going to be very interesting. This is just another feather in the cap for Xbox, more specifically because all of these games that will be releasing, and they will be releasing everywhere from what we understand, day and date. It's going to be on PlayStation. It's going to be on PC. Maybe it gets to Switch too. Who knows? But more importantly, and I think this is the de facto part of the conversation, is that all of this is in Xbox Game Pass. And I know it's not a part of the story. I think I'm going to talk about it on Friday's Breakfast with Boom. But they just raised the prices for PlayStation Plus in Canada by 20%. Like that that story just dropped 20 minutes before the show went live. Yeah, and that is on top of what happened last week where it was announced for other countries. And on top of that, multiple countries getting a console price increase. I could say America's around the corner. Sony is bugging out. I will say that. But, gentlemen, we got to get to the second half of the show. Now, this one has some facts. It has some theories. And I got a piece of evidence that kind of makes it all kind of come together in a nice, perfect package. So what am I talking about, ladies and gentlemen? Ecstasies, who we've mentioned numerous times, did something the other day, which and again, follow this man. If you want hot breaking news information with credibility, seek out Ecstasies on the socials. He put out a tweet, Hargeet, where it says, and again, this is coming directly from Ecstasies, that there is possibly going to be a Xbox partner preview event happening next week. According to Ecstasies, it's supposed to drop on the 23rd. Now, there's a couple of interesting theories here, and this is where we get into speculation with a piece of evidence. Now, I just saw a tweet from Massive Entertainment, makers of the Division 1 and 2, right? Okay, so they apparently are going to be showing off the new Brooklyn DLC for the Division 2 on the 23rd. Coincidence? Maybe. Now, I don't have it confirmed whether or not it's going to be specifically a Ubisoft only joint, because I'll read you the tweet. It says here, Brooklyn in the fall. Don't miss our showcase on April 23rd to learn more about the Battle for Brooklyn DLC coming to the Division 2. Now, interestingly enough, this is where we start getting into speculation plus some evidence. Jeff Grubb, to start the week out on Monday, basically confirmed that the so-called rumored Oblivion, which we all know is real, would be dropping the week of the 21st. He didn't say on the 21st, Hargeet. He said the week of the 21st. The 21st is Monday. Keep that date in your brain pans, ladies and gentlemen, because that is supposed to be when the Nintendo Switch 2 pre-orders for the United States are supposed to go live. For Canada, it's supposed to be on the 23rd. At least that is what Jake Randall is saying. And he's obviously well connected as well. This is, again, take it with all a grain of salt. Is this happening? Well, interestingly enough, Hargi, normally their Xbox preview or partner preview event happens and has happened in March the last couple of years. We heard it was delayed. We don't know why it was delayed. I did not hear why it could be delayed, but it was delayed into April. Well, here we are. Now we're hearing that it could be as soon as next week. And what's happening next week? Well, a couple of things. One, you could, of course, get the shadow drop that we keep hearing that is Oblivion. So you say, well, wait a second. It's a partnered preview event. Yes. Virtuos is the one that did this remake or remaster. They're a partner. That makes perfect sense. They're also partnered, Hargeet, with Ubisoft for a multitude of things. This could be an event where not only does Ubisoft have their own, but they could be a part of this event that's supposed to be happening next week. And again, for the love of the gaming gods, ladies and gentlemen, are we finally going to get the Final Fantasy VII remake announcement for 2025 second half? Because that is also rumored to be happening this year. Obviously, we know it's been on Sony's machine forever. And I say machines, PS4, PS5. Switch 2 actually had it at their showcase. And the one that looks like the one that got left at the left at the dance, you know, is Microsoft. Well, hopefully Xbox will be able to say to the world, Final Fantasy VII Remake finally coming. Here's the partner event. We're releasing it this year. Maybe it's a shadow drop. Maybe it's, you know, before June. Maybe it's second half. I don't know, but there's a lot happening, and it does seem that Xbox is at the center of the conversation. Let's get your thought on the partner preview event.
Yeah, like I was saying this morning, I think we're at the showcases that Xbox has been putting out for the last few years have been all really good. So we'll see what's in this one. Hopefully, it does have that. It is 16. That still hasn't come, right? So Final Fantasy 16 as well. So hopefully that comes over, and then you get Final Fantasy VII Remake as well. But yeah, like there's plenty of games that supposedly will be coming as well, right? So we'll see if Oblivion is one of them. That's an interesting thought that it's a partner making it, therefore it's a partner thing. But then again, they could just say, hey, whatever, we have partner preview with a couple of Xbox announcements as well. It doesn't necessarily mean they can't. At this point, they might as well just have every show as something from Xbox. They still have to announce Towerborn, which has got to be imminent, right? So
that's happening on the 29th, I think. I'm pretty sure it's the 29th.
Is it already announced? Yeah. It's already announced. Okay. So maybe they show some of that because that's a partner game too, right? So maybe they'll have something to show about that. And hey, it's coming out soon, right? So there's plenty. I'm sure it'll be a decent show. But I don't know how many Xbox games will be there. Probably not much. But maybe to your point, hey, any partnered game is fair game, and they'll put those there. I wonder if they'll have an announcement of a new partnered game. That'd be awesome. But we'll see. All right, beyond like a remaster. But yeah, we'll see what they do there. But yeah, I guess next week we'll have that, and then we have the showcase. Not too much longer, right? About a month-ish later, we got the showcase coming. So yeah, it's just one thing after another. There's a lot of news as we get closer and closer to that June timeframe, right? There's more and more stuff happening, and we get more and more announcements and things that are coming along. So yeah, and I'm wondering if Nintendo will have something as well to kind of go over sort of the after launch what happens stuff, because I still haven't heard about Call of Duty going over to Switch 2, which I mean it's got to be happening, right? It's part of that 10-year contract, so they've got to have a release for it, and I doubt it's going to come out at the same time in the fall with the new Call of Duty. So I'm assuming that Call of Duty Black Ops 6 is going to show up at some point on Switch 2, and a whole bunch of other games, right? There's like they only announced one thing was the Tony Hawk game, right? That was like the only thing they had there.
Yeah, I mean you still can get Forza Horizon 5 as a possibility, right? That's a
Yeah, there's so many potential games, right? I like you definitely want to assume that all the games that are already on Switch 1 will show up on Switch 2. And maybe there's an update for them for like Minecraft or something like that. Maybe did they show Minecraft? I don't know if they had a Minecraft thing there or not, but that one you
Not
definitely
on
want to
Switch
have that
2.
updated.
Yeah,
What
not
was
on
that?
Switch 2.
Yeah,
Not on
so I think
Switch 2.
that one's definitely one that they would likely port, right? I'm sure they'll make a Switch 2 version of that.
Mhm.
So you can just assume that that's going to show up at some point. I don't know when that'll be, but whatever. And then they have a whole bunch of other smaller games like Ori, and then games that have come to PlayStation that could easily come over to Switch as well, right? So they definitely have some work there as far as showcasing all that. And then a whole bunch of other third parties. Forget Xbox, but like all the games that have skipped Switch
Ridiculous.
1, right? There's a lot of games out there, especially if you go back even to the Wii, right? The Wii and the Wii U. There were a lot of third-party games that skipped those consoles, and now they could easily run that, all those games, right? So they definitely bring a lot of those games forward to Switch if they want to. So that's just an interesting thing on their side too. But yeah, Xbox having a partner preview partner showcase. Right? It's just their normal. They'll have an indie one, and then they'll have like whatever, right? So there's just so much. They just have showcase after showcase all year. But these are small things, and then you have the big June showcase, and then working with Keeley to do other things here and there. It's good times. We just keep getting more and more fun news. So let's see what they have. Hopefully it's good. I hope it's good. I'm sure they have a bunch of things. As far as their first party, I assume a majority of that you're going to see that come on June showcase, right? So, but we'll see.
It is, like I said, it is pretty crazy when you keep seeing these games stacked up. And granted, not everything is going to Xbox Game Pass. We all understand that. There's going to be stuff that you're going to buy, but there for a good majority of things releasing on Xbox are getting Game Pass deals. And on top of, again, this, you still have the BioShock game coming out from Ken Levine, right? That's coming out supposedly this year. You also have GTA.
Judas.
Yeah, Judas.
And then there's a BioShock 4 in the works.
There's a BioShock
right?
4.
So,
yeah.
So you have Mafia coming. You have Borderlands coming.
Country, that looks fantastic. Yes.
And that's all Take-Two. That's just all Take-Two, right?
Yep.
GT
Borderlands 4 is obviously the same day as the Bungie joint, which again this
Marathon
has got some hurdles, man. Again, I kept saying $40 like it was confirmed. It's not confirmed. I've actually heard from two other people that it might be $60. Don't do that. Please don't do that, Bungie, because if that's the case, your game is dead.
Do you now this is a crazy question. Do you think that they take some of the feedback, because it hasn't been as positive as for Marathon as maybe they hoped, and strike a deal with Microsoft to put it in Game Pass?
I mean, they could, sure. I mean, they're not going to put it in PlayStation Plus. That I can tell you right now.
Yeah.
You know what, Hargy? That's something I think we were going to come back to at some point, because that is a good question. Maybe the lukewarm response kind of spooks them a bit and be like, hey, listen, we got to get a deal. But that's also Sony. You know what I'm saying? Sony would have the final say because they are 2/3 of the board now. It's not like it was before 2/3 Bungie. Because of the failure, now it's 2/3 Sony. So Sony's the one that's making the pecking order or the big decisions. And I think
it's two parties, right? In this case, they also have to see if Xbox wants to do that deal.
That's
right.
Also
something. Another interesting point, right? But it'd be interesting to see, right? It is right up their alley. Like, this is a shooter box, right? The Xbox is so fine. It's Bungie, right? Big history with Xbox. So could they do it? Maybe, right? But that'd be an interesting one. That would be a killer announcement, having a 10-day Game Pass for a Sony studio, right?
I mean,
besides MLB The Show, which we had that for a while, right? So
listen, Hargeet, at the end of the day, we as Xbox gamers are eating good, right? We keep winning. Your value is respected because you're just getting so many games. But Que Asante, I do want to talk about this Xbox partner preview because, like I said, this isn't some sort of a new show that we've never heard of before. This happens normally in March. It has happened in March the last
Mhm.
couple of years. The running rumor is that it was delayed. Now, you know what? Actually, hold on. Let me just kind of pause the show for a second and say this, folks. You're doing it. Hargeet Chani is officially 60 subscribers away from, well, now less than that. It's 57 subscribers away from
Nice.
1,000 subscribers. So what I'm going to do, folks, is again, we're here for you. We enjoy hanging out with you guys and girls, guys and gals every time we're doing it, doing it live, whether it be on K show, my show, or wherever Hargeet turns up. And I hate asking. I'll never ask for myself because, like I talked about it today, we're givers, right? We'd rather give the shirt off our back than take anything from anyone because that's just who we are. But I'm asking for your help now. There are 637 people watching live. That's a lot of people. He needs 57 subscribers to get to 1K. That's not asking a lot. Like I said, I know maybe you've never heard of Harky Chani. Well, I don't know how that's possible because he's on 157 different shows, but you know what? He's here every Wednesday, and he has been here for years. I'm going to drop the link in there one more time. I'm actually going to drop it a couple more times, but I'm asking you as a friend to go and subscribe to this man's channel because he does a lot of work there. He does a lot of work for the community, and there's something about Double Barrel Gaming, and we did this with the Iron Lords all those years ago. When we actually did, I did a show. I was nobody. I had gotten my 1K, and they were struggling. Could you imagine that? The freaking Iron Lords were struggling to get to 1K, and I did a what the hell did I call it? I think I called it a community spotlight podcast, and we got them to 1K live on the air. They got me to a 10K live on the air a couple of years ago, and we have done this for a lot of smaller content creators. We help Ham Solo get to 1K, plenty of them. It's not something that we don't wear a badge of honor. We like doing it because giving is our nature, and helping others is what it's all about. Like I live by my father's words, and treat others how you want to be treated. Well, this is one of those instances where trying to help someone in the community that does so much for us. It's constantly out here on these podcasts talking. Well, he has his own YouTube channel on top of everything. And you know what? To get him to 1K would be really, really cool. And to do it live on the air is something that we enjoy doing. So there's the link. I'll keep watching his channel, get to that one, hopefully 1K before we get on out of here. But Kay Asante, let's talk about the Xbox preview event because this is a partner event, right? It's with their partners. Virtuos is a partner who was working alongside Bethesda to do the Oblivion remake. Again, this is just putting the evidence together. It's an evidence board, folks. Just imagine it in front of you. You have Jeff Grubb, very credible man, says that it's dropping next week. What happens next week? Oh, the Xbox preview event's happening. Oh, what a shocker. And on top of that, you hear that today the Division DLC also being announced on the 23rd, which is supposed to be the day of the partner event. I just say where there's smoke, there is fire. Let's get your thoughts.
Absolutely. I do not disagree at all. I mean, we and Hargeet already spoke about it. They spoke about their problem with too many games and where to place them, right? And that problem is not getting worse. It's not getting better. It's getting worse, right? Where's Contraband gonna go? Have we still heard about what was it? What's the game that had a gameplay that nobody could understand? That game has been floating around for a long time that they didn't actually come out with, made by the Sea of Thieves developer. There's still so many in the tank, right? So much in the tank, and they don't know where they're placing things. And we hear these code names for years and years and years, and eventually, these things, these projects are a layer cake that take many years to make, but eventually they have to be done. Like eventually, it doesn't matter how long it takes. At some point, pens down, you're done, right? So then the problem becomes where do they release it, and that's what we're seeing. Everwild, yes, thank you so much. Yes, Everwild, right? There are so many games we know of, games we've heard about, code names that haven't even turned into real projects yet, and all the while they have preview events or they have events where they're showing you in previous years, 6, 7 games that are coming out this year in the first half used to be 1 game per year the previous years, right? So they're literally like just blowing it out of the box here with all the games they're releasing, to the point where I kind of and guys, like, I'm excited about it, and Hargeet and Boom, please, like, don't get me wrong, I'm very excited about it, right? I think this is awesome, but I feel like, aren't you training like, to Hargeet's point, sit on it. Aren't you training the consumer to expect unrealistic expectations every year? Because what you're doing here is unrealistically crazy right now.
It is.
Right? You could have just been chill with Avowed and been cool till 2026, and now you're releasing more, to the point where by November, no one will even remember that Avowed was at the beginning of the year. Like, it's crazy what they're doing. You know what I mean? So I say all that to say, is there a partner preview? You're damn right there's a partner preview. And there'll be many more shows after that, because there's too much in the damn tank, right? And even better now, which, if you think about it, is very interesting that we find ourselves that them being third-party friendly now means they have even more to show.
Yeah.
No one's a competitor, like, ever. Everyone wants them to show their wares, because much like Keeley, if you don't have Keeley, you have Microsoft, and each of them commands eyeballs. Obviously, Keeley commands all the eyeballs. But if Keeley's not having a show and a partner preview Xbox show is coming out, damn well they're going to be talking about PlayStation. Damn well they'll be talking about Switch. Damn well they'll be talking about Xbox and PC. You want your wares there.
Yeah.
So I will actually say, because of this, we put our wares everywhere move, their showcases are going to be far more like bombastic because of it. Because now everybody can show their stuff there now at this point. There is no competition stopping them from doing so. So yeah, I think it's awesome. I think that more and more you're going to start seeing that it's just a mainstay of Xbox now. In order for them to continue to perform at the high clip they are, they're going to have a lot of showcases. And every time there is a showcase or an event, they're going to have to represent and be there in a big way, because every time they see you, it's a different code name. Pretty cool.
Yeah, you know what? It's one of those things. I mean, Hargeet kept alluding to it. He's talked about this many times before. You as well, Keosante, is the fact that we've come to a point of ridiculousness with these games, right? Like, again, just look at what's happening for first party in 25. I briefly just kind of, skimmed over what could be 2026, right? I kind of just blurted out, 6 or 7 games, right? That's without the contrabands. That's without the Project Dragons. That's without the, Project 007, which is supposedly an IO, partner thing that's going on with Xbox. There is literally so much. And then, of course, you take into the account the Xbox Game Pass factor. And that is also just ridiculous, because, I mean, just look at what's happening. I talked about it today before Hargeet jumped on with me this afternoon. And I said, Paris Lily had put out a tweet basically, just clipping the games that were announced coming to Xbox Game Pass, which included, Grand Theft Auto 5, Towerborn, Obscure 33, Expedition 33. And it just goes on and on and on. And again, not every game is going to be there for you, because there were some that were not for me, but that doesn't make them not worthy to someone else. And when, he clearly said, and I think he's 1,000% right, in this economy, best deal in gaming. It's
absolutely,
it can no longer be ignored. And again, this is not trying to pull any kind of console war rhetoric. It's just, before we get on out of here, it's just some food for thought. Xbox continues to pile in and add to Xbox Game Pass. And what happened 20 minutes before the show went live in Canada? Sony raised PlayStation Plus not by $1 or $2, but by 22%. That is bonkers, because one, occasionally gives you a new game in a PlayStation Plus, and Xbox gives you new games every couple of weeks, right? $220 Canadian. I don't know what that is American. I wish we had Mag here to tell us, but that's a lot of money, and that's just bonkers. And I don't think it ends there, folks. I think all of these price increases from PlayStation will be coming to America. I don't know when, but probably very soon. But let's do Hargeet Watch 2025. Let's see where you at, brother. You have 957 subscribers to your YouTube channel, which that means he is 43 subscribers away. Now, granted, this is not the biggest show of well, it's normally at least a 90-minute show, but this, we've kind of talked it up a bit. But you know what? While we kind of wait for people to file in, because we do have 650 people watching live, and I think we can get 47 people to subscribe to this man's channel, I'll do this. I'll add an additional conversational topic to kind of keep us here just for another 10 or 15 minutes to see if we can get these subs. And I want to really involve the chat. First of all, I want to thank Web Dave for the $2 super chat. I think Hargeet, you know this man. He says, sub to Hargeet's YouTube channel. Yo, que asante and boom. Well, thanks so much for being here, Web Dave. Super appreciate it, brother. If you didn't know, Web Dave was a big part of Breakfast with Boom for many, many years. And obviously, he has his own YouTube channel, and which is pretty damn good. And he works with Hargeet every Sunday, which is awesome. You know what, chat? With everything that is happening in 2025, and again, folks, this is one of those topics that we're kind of shooting the breeze, we're having fun with it. What is your most anticipated game for the rest of the year? Something that has not been released. What is that? I'll start first with Hargeet. Hargeet, there's a lot to pick here. I mean, I think that as gamers, we're spoiled as F. There's just no doubt about it. What is your most anticipated game for the remainder of 2025?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to potentially. So, well, first I'll answer the Canadian dollar to US dollar. 225 is 162 US dollars. It's
okay.
It's coming up as 160. This is right now.
Right? Oh, okay. Sure.
It's coming up as 162. And then the $190 becomes 137. But either way, so that is a hard one to. So look, I there's Outer Worlds 2. I'm a fan of those kind of games. So like Avowed was awesome. I liked it. Like so, this is another one. I loved Outer Worlds. That was great. So I'm looking forward to that. But look, Mafia is a fantastic game.
Dude,
if GTA comes out, that's not my jam as far as like my most important game, but it's gonna be something we're all gonna play.
Yeah,
so
of course it is.
That is like a big one if that comes out. Borderlands is also another big one. Gosh, it's hard to nail down which one I would want to have more than another one, but I'd like to look at like what else is announced because there's so many others that potentially could displace that. But like I think right now it's probably Outer Worlds 2.
Yeah, a lot of people saying that.
That's going to be the one. But yeah, like, there's definitely other ones that are interesting here. Now
Scarlet Scarab says Outer Worlds for him. Outer Worlds 2 for him. You have Sir Rips-a-Lot says Doom. That's a good pick. Doom is great. Steel Fact says 33, which I mean, I'm assuming he means Expedition 33. And the more you see of that game, oh my God, that game looks
it looks pretty good, right? So, but here's the thing: we have not seen it yet, but I have an inkling that there will be a full 3D Mario game. And
September. The rumor is September, which of course will be the official 40th anniversary or the 40th birthday of Mario. And I think that it would make sense to wait for that. And of course, say, hey, it's releasing November 20, whatever, like right before Christmas.
And now here I will be absolutely stupid and say, I don't care what they charge for it. I'm going to buy it. And that's going to be my.
Of course we are, brother. Yeah, don't
say that. Right? Come on, man. Don't do that.
Hey, listen,
don't do that.
$80, whatever it is, they're going to charge you. Like, yeah, I'm buying it anyway.
The words of Hargeet Chani do not represent the rest of us on this panel.
Yeah, so it is what it is. Like, so if that is coming out this year, that will be the top dog for me. I will absolutely, that will be my top game.
That will win game of the
Now,
year.
look,
There's no doubt about it.
There's so many others that are honorable mentions that it's hard to overlook. I've never played the original 3 Snake Eater, what the Metal Gear Solids.
Oh my god!
So
I forgot
that's
about
coming
that.
out,
Jesus
and I'm looking
Christmas.
forward to playing that game because I hear that's really good, and so that remaster is coming. There's what was I gonna point out? There was Metroid Prime, which is also cool. There's Marvel, the Rise of Hydra.
Yeah.
That
Oh my
looks
god!
pretty
Captain
cool.
America and Black Panther joint. Yes.
Right. Again, there's so much.
And Amy Hennig writing, insane.
Yeah.
You know.
So there's so many that you could look at, and it's like, well, which one would be the top one? So, but if I had to pick one out of, it's gonna be Mario. If Mario comes out, like if they put out a Zelda or a Mario mainline game, that's it. That's my top. That's the most important for me. But outside of that, from the Xbox side, I'm definitely looking forward to Outer Worlds 2. If Gears comes out, that becomes top from Xbox because that's still rumored to come out this year, right? So if that happens, yeah, that becomes the top game.
It's pretty ridiculous. By the way, folks, I just dropped the link in. Hargeet Chani, 961 subscribers.
Oh,
that
nice.
means
Thanks,
he is
everyone.
20. It's a handful. He's a handful away, folks. And we'd love to get him there. And we definitely appreciate 39 away, which would be we can do it, folks. We have a lot of people watching live. While we kind of wait for people to still file in and potentially help him get to the 1K live on the air, let's go to Keasante. Keasante, again, this is just a fun topic. What is the most anticipated game for you?
So Hargeet reminded me that E-Day is supposed to be this year, which that'd be hilarious if that was actually this year. It'd be like Microsoft, if E-Day is this year and then 2026 is a drought, I would be so angry. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, if E-Day is this year, damn right.
Year, right? We know we have Fable next year, right?
Yeah.
We have Fable next year. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. If E-Day and or Fable, if E-Day is not part of the equation for me, and another one that they say could be this year, but I still doubt it highly, Clockwork Revolution. Like, to me, like you guys, those who follow me, those who follow me on Twitter know, I'm a big fan of handhelds. I'm playing games and this and that. Been playing with an Android-based handheld. What's the first game I played on it? I played the remaster of BioShock because I cannot wait. And Clockwork Revolution looks like the evolution of that formula.
Yeah,
I have been so excited since the day one. And the reason why I contend it could come out this year. The first time you even heard its existence, the gameplay looked like it was done and ready to play already. The first day you saw it. It's been a while. Go take a look at that initial reveal trailer. It looked far more complete than anything that should have been completed at that time. If you were to say that, it's coming out in 6 months, I would have believed it because it looked really complete. So we shall see. That's my most anticipated. I really hope that comes out this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's listen, Gears of War E-Day, we know is next year. When next year? Probably holiday makes sense, right? I would think that and again, I actually am excited for 2 points of view regarding the Marcus Phoenix collection or the Gears of War collection redone in Unreal Engine 5. It would be another remake or remaster. And you know something? That game was on the Xbox 360. We're now on the Xbox Series X. It deserves it. Even though it looks good, you can play it. It's passable. I'd love to see an Unreal Engine 5 version of that. I believe that is the running rumor that it is going to be this year. That for me, that's the most anticipated because that's something. It's as a fan, I'm a diehard fan of Gears, but I love that trilogy because of how me and my brother just used to go on for hours, man, and just play through the Gears trilogy. So one of our favorite times in gaming when, and we go all the way back to Gears 1, we were just amazed of what we were seeing and experiencing that at the same time was just priceless. So for me, that's the most exciting thing. But we are going to get out of here, folks. I want to thank, we got a super chat, but I do want to just get an update for Hargeet. And of course, I'm going to keep pushing the envelope. He's 965 subscribers folks, that means he is 35 subscribers away from 1K. Now, obviously, we're going to do outros. I want to thank everybody that tuned in. Tomorrow, I'm going to be on at 12 o'clock or 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Mav from Fun Speculation. We're going to be going over the Phil Spencer Variety interview that he just did yesterday. A lot of really, really interesting and thought-provoking quotes from Phil. We'll be talking about that, and I may have another topic. That's one of the smaller shows, 65 minutes. Usually it's with C Money, who is taking the day off to spend with his daughter. It's her birthday. So, of course, he'll be back the following week, as he always is. But listen, let's get everyone out of here. Hargeet, brother, we've been selling your channel, but we want to continue to do that. You wrote a book last year called Emergence. Tell people how to go out and buy that book, especially if they're fans of Mass Effect. Obviously, you're on a bunch of other shows, but we do want to continue to sell your YouTube channel because we want to get you to 1K. And you got a bunch of subs today, 35 away. We're going to keep plugging away this until we get 1K. Hopefully that happens this evening. But sell the brand, brother. Where can people check you out on on your YouTube channel and on other shows, but not on social media?
Yeah, exactly. So my YouTube channel, like, it has already been on the chat. It's HargeetChani1 on YouTube. You can also check out my book. It's shop.chani.us. It'll point you over to Barnes and Noble and Amazon and all those sites, so you can pick it up there. If you want to get a signed copy, you can do that too. And then, as far as the next thing, I assume C Money will be doing the Friday show. So C Money and Doodle night shift on Friday night, 8 p.m. ish. On Friday night, 8 p.m. ish on Point for Gamers, and then with Fonz on Saturday, 6 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, Fonz Gaming, and then Web Dave on Sunday at 7 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. So check those out. And we'll be back here next week for the fun, right? That happens to be Wednesday, right? So the 23rd. So we will most likely be having a fun show, going over all the announcements. Hopefully that's what's happening. It looks like it probably is the 23rd for the pre-orders. It might be the 21st in the US, but we will see for the Switch. So we'll see if people are able to get one if they wanted to get one. I know, Keisante, you already just got one from the UK, right? So, but yeah, so we'll have some fun next week. It'll be an interesting time.
Yeah, well, listen, it should be a lot of fun. Again, the running rumor, at least the last, and again, you should follow this man if you're interested in getting a Switch. Jake Randall, legitimate content creator, has helped millions of people get consoles. Yeah, and I do mean that. I mean, like he has a lot of followers, and the guy's like 1,000% legit. And that's his claim to fame, helping people get consoles. And he's been on top of this Switch situation for quite some time. He did say that Canada is supposed to be the 23rd, the 21st, which is Monday, is supposed to be the United States pre-orders being opened back up. We were going to keep everybody, follow Jake. He's a great one. Wario 64
thing in the chat.
Yeah, I can get his stuff. I don't
know if I can post or not. We'll see. We'll see if it lets me. But there you go.
Yep, there it is. Jake Randall. Follow Wario 64. Another fantastic. Shinobi 602 is someone else that you can follow. I'm sure Hazardor Gaming and Okami 13 _. These are all people you should be following. Especially
Jake, by the way, is fantastic. If you haven't followed him, like, he will set up a stream right before the pre-orders go in, and he'll give you all the hacks you need to have, right, to be able to get your pre-order in. So, and he knows each store's actual hacks, what you need to do to make it work, right? So definitely check his streams out if you're having trouble trying to get one of these things, whichever console, it doesn't matter. He usually does it for everything. So definitely check his channel. He's very, very good. He's very good. Check him out.
Yes, absolutely. So, Keisante, let's sell the brand, brother. Let's talk about the Gaming Circle podcast. You and obviously your brother from another.
That's right.
One Saga get together Saturdays, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to, of course, bring the latest and greatest gaming news. And quite frankly, this week looks like it's going to not be short of news. That is for certain, brother. Sell the brand. People subscribe and, more importantly, follow you on the social medias.
Well, thanks once again, and I was a little late. Life happens, but thank you guys so much for having me as usual. Myself, Mr. Everborn Saga, we'll be doing some interesting things coming up pretty soon. We're going to be at PAX East, so there'll be content there. PAX East from May 8th to 11th. Heike, I'm not even sure. Are you going to be there as well? I'm not sure if you're going your neck of the woods and all that. Would love to
I will definitely.
we'll do that.
I tried to go in as media, that didn't happen, so I'll have to just buy an actual,
sure, yeah,
day pass or whatever.
I was lucky enough
Saturday,
they let us in. I will be there from Thursday all the way to Sunday because gonna hang out in my old neck.
I will definitely
we'll connect on
that. Definitely come down. No issues. We'll definitely catch up. Awesome. Literally, it's like a 40-minute drive for me. So.
yeah. So that'd be cool. So there's that, and then we might even do PAX West. There's so much going on, but yeah, check us out. Gaming Circle Podcast, GCP. Do the hashtag GCP on your social media network. At this point, I've done it enough where you will find us. But of course, you can follow me, Asante, TK Asante, on all the places. When we go live, you'll get that as well. But as usual, appreciate all the support. Thank you guys. And if you haven't done so already, I hope you're subscribing to Hargeet's channel because he's very close to a 1K. Yeah. Let's get him over it. Come on.
Absolutely. Anonymous Boss drops a very generous $5 super chat. Anonymous, welcome, brother. Nice to see you here as always, and thank you so much for the generosity. He says, like Hargeet said, everyone at Sony Interactive Entertainment is a CEO. You're a CEO. He's a CEO. They, them are a CEO. They are spending too much on CEOs. Yeah, I look, I don't know what happened to Sony. I don't know if it's complacentness. I don't know if it's just not reading the room or, being, the old saying is you've heard people say this, especially if you're a D&D fan, there's always that really fat king that stays on the throne for too long. And he thinks that he is better than everyone else. And he eventually, that's his downfall, his smugness. I'm not saying that's what's happening to Sony, but Sony, had some bad leadership. They made some bad decisions. Bungie, the $3.6 billion investment, I don't know if that's going to work out for them. Bungie is walking a razor's edge with Marathon. I mean, Marathon could hit, but what if it doesn't? Right?
Did you guys see that the Destiny 2 expansion was announced right at the same time?
Yes,
and
it was.
Now they have a reveal for that coming up next month.
Yep.
So I don't know how confident they are in Marathon because they're like, oh, we have to have Destiny stuff right with it.
It's concerning, but yeah, you're absolutely right about who knows what's going on with Sony, but we'll see. Maybe they will have a showcase this year, maybe they won't. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. We'll do one last quick check for Hargeet Chani's YouTube channel, and we'll do a refresh, folks. He is at 966 subscribers away. That means he is 34 away from 1K. And again, we're going to be talking about this. You'll see me do some posting on the socials. And of course, we'll talk about it tomorrow. See if we can get him to 1K, because I was hoping to do it today, but at some point we're going to get him to 1,000 subscribers. A big thank you to the super chats that came in today, the channel member chats that continue to support the channel behind the scenes. Mrs. Boom and I are incredibly grateful for it. Of course, thank you so much for taking the time to subscribe to Hargeet's channel. And again, this is a community, right? We're all here to enjoy gaming. We're also here to help one another and lift us up and take a hand and give a hand. And that's what we're trying to do with Hargeet. So thank you for everyone that subscribed. We do greatly appreciate it. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, folks. And hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of Primetime Gaming with Mr. BoomStick and Friends. Phenomenal.